going on, lifers? Javid exclusive here, and it's a special interview today. You know, normally we take you guys behind the scenes with your favorite artists, your favorite actors, but today, you know, sitting down with somebody who pulls the strings behind the scenes in the industry, CEO of Translation Advertising, Steve Stoute. I think last time we saw you, Steve, was on the Fortune list. I think you came in number 16 this year for top 40 under 40. How'd that feel to get that, you know, acknowledgement on the list with the founders of Google and all these other people?
I was shocked, you know, because you never know who recognizes your contribution. You know, it's not like every day you walk around, somebody pat you in the back and say, yo, you know, you just do the work, and then, you know, sometimes, you know, you get those type of accolades and those rewards for, you know, the work that you put in. And a lot of the times you get credit way after the fact for work you did a long time ago. Like, it's when it really sinks in, the collection or the body of work that you touched and been involved in, and do you start receiving those type of, you know, acknowledgments. It's not because you just did something, it's because you've been doing something for a while, and finally, you know, you start getting, you know, that kind of acknowledgement.
All right, so speaking of doing it for a while, most people probably don't know, you know, that you worked with Kid and Play one time. When I first found out about you was, you know, when you were working with Nas. I think that's when, you know, a lot of pop culture kids started to find out about your work. How'd you go from, you know, doing the music industry, managing artists, to being the, you know, CEO of your own advertising company? Like, what was the moment that happened for you?
In the record business, you know, still to this day, guys have production companies, they sign an artist, they start working, they build a record company, right? So-and-so Productions or so-and-so Entertainment, whatever you do. So I kind of took that mentality that I learned from the entertainment business and took it to advertising. I learned about the advertising business in 96, 97 when I was working on Men in Black and the soundtrack for Men in Black, and that's when I started to realize, you know, that you could actually sell glasses because you have a hot song, and you know, that whole sort of relationship between pop culture and advertising and moving product and selling items, and then basically just taking the mentality of a record producer, record business, hip-hop entrepreneur kind of mentality, and applying it towards advertising, where you kind of go in and start and you figure out how to make it work later. It's a lot of that. A lot of times, you know you could do the job, but necessarily building the company, running the company, and all those other kind of important details come after the fact. So you go through a lot of growing pains because you have the right ideas, but you don't have to build the right infrastructure to support those ideas. And you know, it's our 5th year now, so we kind of got out of all those cobwebs. That was early on stuff. Actually, when you were at the company.
That's behind the scenes. You started the company by yourself. We heard a couple months or about a year ago that you partnered with Jay-Z. Like, what did that mean as far as your company changing?
Well, you know, what the company stands for, and what we try to tell the companies that we work with, is how to speak to young adults, either the age or people who think like young adults. And when you have a guy who has clearly tapped into global culture and who understands, you know, the way young adults think, he'd be hard pressed, and he's a friend of yours, and you've done so much work with him, and you'd be hard pressed to not, you know, want to work with that guy, you work with that brain in order to help, you know, push out more work, more positive work, and expand the reach of the company. And he has a global footprint. You know, we don't. Translation currently doesn't. And with working with him, I think that we would be able to not only do much better work and use his ideas to help create commercials and campaigns that are more effective, but I also think it also helps stretch the company to international reaches.
Okay. So you put together, I guess, came up with the concept for his sneaker, for the 50 Cent's G-Unit sneaker. Pharrell had a sneaker for a while. What was the...
Pharrell still has sneakers, the ice creams. We did that first. I still have the original box.
The original sneaker?
I have the original everything right here. I got all the original Jay-Z.
We're going to take you guys to see that in a second. The original?
These are the original ice cream boxes. We have all of that. The whole thing is... I ain't let you finish your question.
How did that, like, what was the day, like, did you just wake up one day like, I got it, Jay-Z should have his own sneaker, or was it a building process?
No, it's the same thing that, I like to think, like, everybody who's going to watch this interview who goes to your site, that, I'm part of the editorial of what takes place in culture, what people really want to see, what people really want to look like, not getting messages pushed down, like, why are you putting rapping in a Burger King commercial that don't even make no sense? And you sit there and you edit it. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. So I just felt like Jay-Z was selling so much Air Force Ones that he could really sell his own sneaker. I mean, why wouldn't I not believe it? To me, it's just obvious. But you don't go there because how do you make the sneaker? Who's going to make the sneaker? How are you going to get it in Foot Locker? All of those things tend to be the obstacles. But the basic premise makes sense. Like, he's selling so much Air Force Ones. Why shouldn't he have his own sneaker? Why should he be selling Air Force Ones for Nike and they're going to put a little Rockefeller logo on the back part of the sneaker and say, okay, that's your own sneaker?
Yeah.
What's that? There's no money in that. So I think everybody's seen that. But you just don't want to get to the next part because the next part means you have to do all this other work in order to source the sneaker, sell the sneaker, blah, 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 blah. And those aspects of things are the things that I don't have a problem with.
So 50 Cent, how was his sneaker? Was it the same thing? Was it?
That was Jay's idea. It was the same thing. It was Jay's idea. It was Jay's idea because we were first going to do something with 50 Cent and T.I. We were going to do it that way. I think Reebok was a little too fast and they kind of blew it out. We could have did a much better job of making it not come down so fast. Like after Jay-Z sneaker hit, 50 and Pharrell hit immediately, we could have dragged it out a little longer, but 50's sneaker came right on back Jay's, but it was originally Jay's idea to even extend an invite to 50 to do his sneaker.
Well, I remember on 106 in Park, 50 actually had the S card.
Yeah, he did.
Moving on to what you've been doing lately, I saw you popped up with Mary J. Blige. You guys started a charity organization, FFAWN.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of that organization? How'd that come about?
I asked Mary what really meant a lot to her. And, she says, when I make my music, I really do want to help people. Like, I want the record to be successful, but I really judge success personally by how many people's lives it affects. How many people, all of my messages about love and pain and heartache and love again. I want people to take that and better their lives. And I felt like a natural extension of that was for her to have a foundation that really touched me. So take it from music and actually put forth an effort to help these women through philanthropic endeavors. And that's how we came up with FFAWN, the Foundation for the Advancement of Women Now. And we built our Mary J. Blige Center, our first one in Yonkers. Right? Yeah, and Gucci helped underwrite the event and the center. And they have a product that they sell, a watch.
How do you get Gucci? Like, for people who don't know, how did you get Gucci involved in something like?
It's what I said prior, man. That other part's not my problem. That part's never the problem. The problem is conceiving an idea that makes sense, so that it makes real sense. By the time you have an idea that makes a lot of sense, and it's not like, just some whimsical thinking, like, oh, let's just get in business with, Cartier for something. Okay. It's actually an idea that makes sense for them, that makes sense for you, that's believable. I mean, then the rest of it I like to handle. I just like that, It's my contribution to I guess to the game. It's what I've always was able to navigate through since I started my career.
So do you consider yourself an entrepreneur, or are you not really comfortable with that title?
No, I consider myself an entrepreneur. Anytime you got to make your own food, you got to catch it, cook it, and clean it, then you're an entrepreneur, man. Yeah, you're damn right. This is my outdoor space. This is where I'm at, right? This is my environment. That either I make it happen or I don't make it happen.
Being that, like I said earlier, you were working with Kid and Play. Did you ever envision yourself, like, in your wildest dreams? Like, what did you think when you got into the music business? What did you think was going to be in store for you? Or where did you see yourself fitting in at that time, I guess, what I'm asking?
started off as a road manager, and then I was fortunate enough to come in a time in the record business where it was flourishing.